the time when you kick back, relax, get into the zone. What zone am I talking about? The boombar, of course, right here on your Boom Radio NG. My name is Sola.
My name is Dolupo, and good evening. It is another wonderful edition of the bar. And of course, as if you're just joining us at the bar, okay? Something else. If you're just joining us at the bar, it is very interesting how there are a lot of things that have been happening all around in the country, in sports, in entertainment, and everything else around the world. It's not working.
Yeah.
Okay. There is there are updates on what's happening in Sudan. In fact, not even just what's happening in Sudan. There's a conversation around a lot of things happening concerning Nigeria and Nigerians. Also, there is a lot of the president-elect. There's conversation around the president-elect, the president as well. I'm not sure it was even kind of like news. It was obvious President Buhari was going to go to, I think it was almost obvious. I think Nigeria is part of Commonwealth, so I'm guessing those things was just normal. Anyway, also there's a lot of sport news that we're going to be talking about. There's a few entertainment news right here on Boombar on boomradiong.com.ng. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
That's what it is. We are definitely talking about all these things that Dolupo has talked about, and some that we have not talked about. Some football stories, things are happening. We say it's music, sports, politics, and everything in between. So there's like a team that doesn't have a coach that they are now going to play.
Every team has a coach. Every team has a coach.
You shall like arguing. I'm not even gonna respond.
Every team has a coach.
Everybody knows that Chelsea does not have a coach. Chelsea is a coachless team. Chelsea is coachless. And one wicked Arsenal team and now feeling cool be playing and beating a team that doesn't have coach. We'll talk about that later.
I don't think that we're going to get. Anyway, as we get,
we'll talk about that later.
Let's start from updates from Sudan. Yeah, and starting from that, according to the Nigeria Diaspora Commission, it said that in a few hours, the first set of Sudan evacuees are supposed to be in Nigeria. Now, there is one particular story that has been going on, and it is the one of another Nigerian. Okay, let me give you three scenarios. I know that a few days ago there was a particular story where a few students had come out and they were going off on how they're being treated, how they were in the middle of nowhere and blah blah blah, and how Nigerian government just brought them in the middle of nowhere just to make them suffer and all that. And a lot of people had different things to say. It was good, it was not good. I think we even talked about it at the boombar. Also, and I remember seeing another video of a man who made a video of him pleading.
Yeah, that they have young children.
That they had young children. And I was really touched by that video. I personally was really touched by that video. And my first impression of that video was that I juxtaposed it with the video of the students. And I'm like, these people are kind of passing across the same message.
But different ways of doing
different ways. We had talked about it, and I had said I already had an issue with the way the students went about with the putting out their grievances and all their issues. So, fast forward to a few days after, there was a lot of conversation about how there were a few explanations here and there, and then of course we know how some Nigerians and some other nationals were at the border for days as Egypt did not allow people into their country, and how they finally allowed people into their country, but with stiff conditions and all that. Yes, we all know about that. Now, we're now moving on to, we see another set of people or a particular person that now makes another video where he's going on about how where the Nigeria government put them, which is supposed to be, I'm guessing, like a transit camp, and talking about how
we were talking about the condition of the
toilet, that the building, where did they put them, and how they're supposed to, that after spending $1.2 million, well, is this what they could come up with? And you know what, just, you can go ahead.
Okay, so the thing about it is that Dolupo has already shown you different perspectives to it. I'm not going to repeat that because we don't have time. It's 1 hour. The particular Twitter user in his profile claims to be a Web3 developer, designer. You know, he's not a student.
Okay.
He's not a student. He's an adult who works and all of that. The thing here is how he comes across as entitled, in my opinion. Like, oh, what are they going on about? But Nigerians did not let him off, easy. They did not. They came for him and actually told him that what he was doing was completely wrong. Now, in his own pushback, I saw his tweets this morning, about 4, 5, 6 hours ago, where it was like, no, he's not talking about the building, that, what he was just trying to do is just to make people understand that even if the government is doing well, I'm paraphrasing, some people are corrupt and this and that. Do you understand? But when people put out information, or they put out these videos, they put these things out, they tend to forget, how your message will be broken down and analyzed by different people from different angles. Yeah. And most times their pushback is always weak, like, oh, that's not what you meant. At some point he even said that, oh, it was the people he's fighting for are now fighting him. And then I'm like, wait a minute, sir. Who made you fight for anybody? Now the real thing here is there is a needless war going on in Sudan. A war that looks like the devil. We keep blaming the devil for everything. So I'm looking for who to blame here. So let me quickly use the devil. Devil, no vex. Now you are going to use. The devil, on his own part, has seen two willing, tools. And he says, you know what, guys? Destroy each other. Because the thing is, if one of them wins, say the army general or the RSF leader wins, which state are you going to govern? The one that you've destroyed the CBN, destroyed the military headquarters and virtually everything. Do you understand? How long will it take you? It is easy to destroy. It's easier to destroy than to build. How long will it take them to rebuild the whole of Sudan? That Khartoum is like someone said in a video, Khartoum, the capital, has fallen. So, in the midst of all of this, we have seen the responses by the Canadian government, for instance, asking people to leave. We've seen responses by the UK government advising people on how to leave and they should really get out of the place. The Nigerian government, on our own part, has gone a step further by actually trying to get Nigerians out.
There's even a conversation that there's $100 that is waiting for these people when they get back to Nigeria.
Yeah.
Please, how many Nigerians in Nigeria are getting $300? And we seem to forget the fact that it is the people's money here, the people that pay taxes here. It is their money they're using to bring you. Nobody sent you to Sudan. No. You are not a diplomat. The country did not send you there. You have no business. They actually owe you no obligation to bring you back. But in their magnanimity, which I think at this point Nigeria really needs to what's the word now? We need to reevaluate these things. In Nigeria's magnanimity, they bring you back. They're planning to bring you back. They even put you in a transit camp before they can take you out. And then all you can complain is the toilet. Please. Don't worry, you will soon get 5-star Sheraton at Khartoum.
Yeah, so
It's like you people don't want to have sense.
the Twitter user that I'm talking about is Amid Abdul Malik. He claims to be a software developer, and he says, as soon as I get to Nigeria, I will organize a boot camp for basic software development appreciation. A lot of people need help, and it's obvious they do not know how to ask. But hey, I understand. Trust me. That's one of his tweets. I really appreciate the warm welcome to Twitter. I'm happy to realize that we have a lot of work to do here. We surely will have lots of fun in the days ahead. Thanks for having me. Another tweet of his 9 hours ago. I know you guys don't get it. I have other places I can be at in Sudan and be cool. I'm a software engineer. I'm coming to Nigeria to add and contribute in my own way. In a week or two, I will settle down and show you that it's not about me because I am set. Now, this is the bad thing about him. He thinks he's defending himself, but to me, you're really messing things up.
Don't come
for other people.
You have places you can be in Sudan.
Be there.
Please be there. Be there. Or better still, get a private jet to come and pick you. You can be there.
The video that he put out has already hit 180,000 views as we speak. And of course, he has over 1,226 comments and 1,539 retweets. Every time we try to, do these things, we think we're making government look bad, but at the end of the day, we're actually making ourselves look bad. You haven't made any sense here at all. Now, the $1.2 million to show that this Twitter user is not that bright is not for accommodation. It is not for any other thing other than transportation.
And I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and I'm like that. This transport company is not like I'm alleging anything, but the honest truth is they're business people. I'm sure the amount of money that is used to move people at the moment is way much more than they would normally. It's a very precarious situation. So yes, if you would understand if these things are more expensive and all that, there's still, whether we like it or not, I think at the moment it's only the Nigerian Air Force that will not get paid for airlifting people. Let
me read an excerpt of the U.S. law that's as it concerns this. The U.S. law requires that the departure assistance to private U.S. citizens or third country nationals be provided on a reimbursable basis to the maximum extent practicable. What this means in plain English is, no matter the amount the government spends, you will reimburse them.
Yep.
You will pay back.
And it is whatever they tell you they paid, you're going to pay.
You will pay back. And now this is a government that is not even charging a dime for it. And because there's a bad toilet somewhere on the border. And why are Nigerians being kept at the border as against other countries? It's because of the acts of other Nigerians.
I don't understand. It's very, very ridiculous. It is literally a war situation. It is the toilet. See, I think that it's not just even about Nigerians. I think that it is completely unfair to be at the point where you're sure that you're going to be moved out of the country. At the point you're already at the border. I think that it is very insensitive of that kind of person. Why I said so is that what happens to Sudanese that do not have anywhere else to go?
You're watching your entire life being destroyed by a group of insane people.
What happens to those people that have nowhere else to go? People that maybe other countries would not open their borders to. They don't have another president to call the president of another country, open your borders to these people. They don't have people that are coming to come and take them out. They don't have airplanes that are coming to airlift them. I think it is completely insensitive that at this point, the problem that you have is how clean a toilet is. It is completely and utterly disrespectful and insensitive to the people of Sudan. That's what I feel. This is even way beyond just Nigeria. And then or you literally have hope of your going home. That's literally some people's home that is like gone poof. And here you are, you're complaining about toilet. Please, let's know what we are doing.
But on a more serious tip, for those Nigerians who look to us for updates and information, in a moment from now, I'm sure by the time this program airs at 7 o'clock or thereabout, the
Hopefully.
first batch of Nigerians that were on the planes that have left Egypt would have landed here in Nigeria. So that's a bit of cheering news for people who have their words stranded. We're talking about 3,000 to 5,000 Nigerian students who are based or who are studying in Sudan. Amongst them will also include now people from other walks of life, not necessarily students. It looks like they're going to help a lot of Nigerians get out.
Oh yeah.
Of Sudan.
Looks like Nigerians. It is obvious that Nigerians have. There are a lot of Nigerians in Sudan. They're talking about 5 million Nigerians out of Sudan. So I think that the Nigerian government have a lot to still do, but let's start as whatever it is. The fact that they've started, let's see how that goes. Also, keeping in mind that the ceasefire is not looking like this. It's a ceasefire is coming to an end very, very, very soon. But anyway, I hope that everybody is safe. Now, let's move on from that quickly, and we're moving on to the president-elect. The president-elect is in Port Harcourt. He landed in Port Harcourt today. Yesterday, the governor of Rivers State, Governor Wike, decided to give the citizens of his state another public holiday. Just 2 days after there was a national public holiday, and just 2 weeks after another one. Before we had another one, then there were 2 weeks before that we had another one. Anyway, there is public holiday in Port Harcourt today. Why? Main reason is for people to be able to come out and give a very good welcome to the president-elect as he's coming to commission stuff in I think the 12th flyover in Port Harcourt. Now, I personally think that it is completely unnecessary for you to have public holiday because somebody's coming, even if he's now the president, even he's still president-elect, even if it's President Muhammadu Buhari, or even when he becomes president. I honestly do not think that it is enough for there to be a public holiday, but governors, it is well within their powers or their rights to do as they wish. Now, there's a very interesting part to this story, as during the commissioning of this matter, Governor Wike had talked about how the incoming governor, the governor-elect, is supposed to, there's already a letter that has been drafted that the governor-elect is, when he comes in, is supposed to sign the letter and ask the federal government
for reimbursement
and refunds of
12
because these flyovers are on federal roads.
12 bridges, flyovers, ramps,
whatever it is, across River State. Now, in a very interesting turn of events, because the honest truth is that I think that the president-elect and the outgoing governor of River State are really on really, really good terms. That you cannot take away at the moment. Now, what they say, what the president-elect is saying, that there's not going to be any refund.
Yeah.
That according to him, Rivers people are using the road. River State built road that Rivers people are using. I'm not going to pay that money to you.
Yeah. Well, it's a matter that the president-elect and the governor-elect of River State should ash out on their own.
Yeah, he made a statement that it's going to be a bit of, for you to get anything, it's going to be a bit of lobbying, because I don't see a reason why you should get paid.
Yeah. It's banter definitely between these two. You know that they go a long way back. One of the highlights of this visit for me was the presence of former Governor Odili. You know, he was there. And again, you see how politicians operate. Like, party line or no party line. I said party. There was no N in what I said. Along party line or not party line.
Oh my God.
Governor, former Governor Odili was there. Elder statesman, you must give that to him. And again, they talk about governance. That politicking is over. Campaigning is over.
Move on from that.
From where they stand. On the other side, though, which is right for them to do within the confines of the law, the PDP, APC, and one or two other parties still have a problem with that.
Yeah, I saw a statement
The
yesterday
Labour,
talking about how
PDP.
they're not coming to the event, about how they were not informed.
That's the APC.
The APC in Rivers State.
But it looks like there are two APCs in Rivers State. There's another APC that actually put out a banner, and I saw their soft copies and all of that, saying that they're going to be at the airport to welcome him. So it's looking like, all this talk about how a certain part of the APC in Rivers State, worked with one of the opposition parties. It's looking like it's real.
It's looking like it's real, yeah?
Sure you get, so politics is as dirty as it comes, and these guys are playing it. They're politicking.
It's very interesting, like you had said. Now, I was still going to go back to the issue of federal government paying for the flyover. I think that number one thing is that President Buhari had, hate him or love him, there's some things that he has done that has now become norm, which didn't used to be before. Monies that federal government owes states. If you can go and check, President Buhari has made it a duty to pay people, to pay the states.
As it should be.
Monies that it was not even when he was there, or monies that River States as a whole, compared to a lot of other states, have benefited immensely from paying backlog of monies to monies that were used to build roads, separately from the 13% derivation to monies that they were used to build roads from the federal ministry, and all of works and all that. River State is a huge beneficiary of what President Buhari has done for when it comes to refunds
as it should
of this
be.
money. Which the honest truth is that we know that even as little as 13% of, I think 13 or 15% of roads that the federal government owns, if it will be smart, if it's a smart thing, if state governments can get it done and then the federal government pays them for it, it just makes work easier. They don't have as much to do at the same time. Somebody else is doing it and then you just pay for it. Makes sense. Now, on the flip side, is the president-elect saying that wouldn't that stop people from doing those kind of work? States, if they know that they won't get paid anymore.
That's why I said I put it down to banter. For me,
because I think that probably encouraged a lot of states to actually go out to do some of this.
I put it down to banter again. The reason why I'm saying that again is that the people who would drive on those bridges or those ramps or the flyovers really don't really care who built it. Do you get? In a traffic situation and you're like, oh, thank God for this bridge. Do you understand? You don't care. You're just happy that the bridge is there. Now, so if it's supposed to be a federal project or a state project, if the federal government feels that states should not help them with this project, they will feel the
I think that's more. A slippery slope that I don't think anybody should go down.
Anybody that cares about governance will be happy to get some form of assistance as long as it's done right. I know that with Fashola's ministry, there were standards for road construction, standards for constructing bridges and everything. So if you wanted to get reimbursed, once you get the approval to go ahead, you go ahead and you construct. They will inspect, see that the road meets the federal standards and you get paid. I don't think they're going to drop that because it has helped a lot.
It has.
So whatever you heard him say is definitely banter. Because if he does not encourage the states to help them with federal projects, then he's telling us that he can handle everything by himself.
Okay. Anyway, now let's move on from that quickly. And let's move on to something that is very interesting as the Senate has now joined the House of Representatives. I think this happened yesterday. The House of Representatives that talked about it yesterday. The Senate is talking about it today. ECOWAS Parliament has also talked about it. And this is them all pleading. Even the Nigeria Diaspora Commission had also put out a statement pleading for leniency for Senator Ekweremadu and his wife over their organ harvesting issues. I think that the sentencing, they're already convicted. I think the sentencing is supposed to be on Friday, if I am correct. But now, my question is that how come this conversation is just happening now?
Exactly. The ECOWAS people, and by extension the Nigerian Parliament, seem to be telling us something that we don't know. Do you understand? Like maybe there's a part of the law that says that when they intervene, the judgment can be upturned or treated or, arranged in a way that the man gets some kind of leniency. There are things that his lawyer should be arguing about, first-time offender, being not knowledgeable in things like this, a passionate father who really, really, really wanted to, ensure the safety of his child, and being ill-advised by the medical personnel around him. There are things that I think that can within the law. These are things that the court listens to. But I don't know of any ruling anywhere where a parliament, or a pseudo parliament like ECOWAS, because I don't see, to be honest, I don't know what ECOWAS parliament is doing. But I know that there are laws being passed within the Nigerian, space by the Nigerian Assembly. If this is what they are saying, then let them go ahead and see what they can get out of it. I like to say that as long as it's within the confines of the law, what does the law say about these things? But I also want us to now be careful of precedents that we're setting.
Exactly.
If you say that because this person was a former deputy speaker, deputy Senate president,
what happens to a regular person?
Because that's what it is. At the end of the day,
I think that's where my issue also comes from. Like, at the end of the day, we whether we like it or not, he's just a citizen like you and I. Whatever leniency that applies to him or that will apply to him or that they might give him should apply to everybody else as well. So if the Senate, the House of Representatives, the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, if they all have something to say about it, then they should also have something to say about every single convicted Nigerian outside the country. That's where my own issue stands. But we will see where all that
all that letter writing, we'll see. You remember that former president Obasanjo had also written,
he had written a letter, his own, which like I said too, it was almost like as if it was too late. The conviction had already ended, or maybe that is how it works.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe you have to.
We'll find out.
The conviction has to happen before you ask for leniency and all that. And speaking of the fact that Nigeria and the UK have like a very good cordial relationship and all that. So we'll see how that goes. And talking about the UK, President Buhari is set to attend the coronation of King Charles III on Saturday. Yeah, it's going to officially be it has been king anyway for like a year, but the official coronation is going to happen in London on Saturday, and Nigeria being one of it wasn't really news to me though, as Nigeria being one of the Commonwealth countries. I felt that it was just, it was just normal for him to actually. It would really be nice though to actually see to watch this kind of thing. A lot of us had never seen that before, as his mom was there for like the longest of times.
Forever.
Yeah, I'm guessing maybe someone like my grandmother was probably the one that witnessed the last coronation.
Yeah.
Around that,
Yeah.
So it's it will be a very nice thing to watch. I like the tradition that goes into these things, and not the UK. Generally, when he saw, I remember, I think I actually sat down to watch the coronation. I think the Olu of Warri. That's like the most recent in times and all that. I like those things. It's the culture around those things. Everybody has his own, the way things are done, and I think it will be very interesting to watch. Now,
No. I also wanted you to finish. It's not good to interrupt people when
sorry.
they're talking, so I wanted you to finish. Before you move away from all this talk about coronation and attending and all of that, there is a quote from the Kenyan president that I would like to read. Mm-hmm. It is not intelligent for 54 African presidents to go and sit before one president from another country for a summit. Sometimes we are mistreated. We are loaded onto buses like school kids. It is not right. President William Ruto of Kenya said this. Now, I know that he wasn't referring to the coronation.
Yeah.
But as soon as he said that, my mind went to when they went for the coronation last year.
Was it the coronation?
Yeah, it was in the UK.
It wasn't the coronation.
Okay, what was it?
Went for one. It was for one thing. It wasn't the coronation, but I think I remember what.
There was no coronation. They went for the whatever of the king, Sha.
There was something, and that
Excuse me.
There was talks about the US president, how
he went with his beast.
His own,
he went with the beast. He drove his car and everything, but all the other, even the Canadian, and they were put in buses.
Buses, yeah.
And as soon as he said this, that's where I know he was referring to the summit between Africa and America.
Yeah.
But that's where my mind went. That look, African leaders at some point in time need to also build themselves to a point where they can fly with their own beast or not go at all. Mm-hmm. Do you get? I like the idea of the coordination where it's easy for you to move people in buses. But
because every president has his own convoy.
But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
These are our
presidents.
These are our own kings and our own presidents too. Even if we're not happy with all of them, or we feel they're not doing as great as they should be, I like what President Ruto has started.
I think that is something nice to say, but I think they say charity begins at home. You have to earn some of this respect. One of the things that Africa needs to stop. I personally feel that they do not take a lot of African countries seriously. Why? It is only in Africa and just a couple of other countries, but it is very, very rampant in Africa that you see one person calls himself a president, because at that point you're no longer a president. You are there for 20, 30, 40 years. You are not a president. Yes, so there's so many African countries that there's so many coups, there's so many. Can we just, if only we do things like properly, maybe, just maybe, we will command a lot more respect. But you want to die there. Even President Ruto, he himself is not moved. There are just only a few countries that actually practice proper democracy, and and then you see all these things, and then all these other countries see you and see that you are very unserious, and then you want to demand respect. I'm sorry. I think it is high time we need to look into these things. I was talking about this yesterday. I said that Africa is talking about, we'll ask before you say two things. We'll ask the UN, we'll ask the EU, we'll ask what exactly are African countries doing for Sudan at the moment. We saw in the past 1 year, we've seen the amount of aid that Ukraine has gotten from, yes, there are two different things. Russia that is attacking Ukraine, but still there is a major attack in Sudan. Are we saying that at this point in time there should be a lot of trying to get peacekeeping? What is the AU doing about what's happening in Sudan? What are a lot of countries, even Nigeria?
I see the disparity in the support for Sudan and Ukraine, right?
Even the media, it's not there.
And you also rightly pointed out there are two different things. But I think that the Sudan situation, if I'm going to advise, is supposed to be garnered or tailored towards the people who have left Sudan.
Yeah, trying to get people out.
Refugees. You see, Sudan's situation, in the case of Ukraine, there are countries giving them weapons, America and a couple of other countries. Which of these two madmen in Sudan do you want to give weapons?
You want to give weapons? Yes, no, I agree.
Which of these two madmen do you want to support?
What's happening?
What
happened in Egypt, where Egypt was literally locked their borders? I think that it is a war situation. I think it is completely unfair.
Well,
for you to do I think that
when Poland and co locked their borders and started letting some people in and some,
we saw
what did the world say and do about it?
I that's what I'm like. I honestly feel that it was so. That's why I'm saying that Africa really needs to do a lot more for themselves before you can ask every other part of the world to respect you.
Well, again, it still doesn't stop you from starting to demand where you can demand and control what you can control.
Anyway, personally, that's what I. But before we leave this matter, there was something that I missed earlier, and still talking about people in Sudan, Nigerians in Sudan. Now, a few days ago, there was a story that popped out where the coalition of Southeast Youth leaders had made an allegation that Nigerians in Diaspora Commission had left behind Nigerians of Igbo extraction, and that they were even asked to come down from a flight for others to board the plane.
What flight? No flight has left now as at that time.
Now, according to this, NiDCOM in a press statement with his head of media has said that the allegation is a fabricated lie from the pit of hell.
I guess. Or from the pit latrine.
They're saying that there is in no way the chairman of NiDCOM prevented Nigerians, especially Southeast extraction, from boarding buses hired by the federal government. The part of the statement said the said group never bothered to cross-check the sponsored false story on Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa or get our own side before spreading falsehood all over media in the spirit of fairness, balancing, and objectivity. Okay, so basically, I think this is actually a very huge allegation, and I think that we do not need, if you do not have like proper evidence, I think at the point where Nigeria is, we do not need this drama.
Well, for me, the machine that creates these stories is in overdrive now, for some strange reason. It could be for political reasons. I don't know, but I know that the propaganda machine is on overdrive as we speak. There is no plane, when that video was released, no plane had been allowed to take anybody.
According to reports from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, what they're saying when they said that the only situation that they said people should alight from buses was when buses came. A lot of
alphabetically,
people, even non-Nigerians,
state by state,
jumped in. Some violently jumped in. Some had daggers. Some went through the windows, and then they had to tell people everybody had to come down. That they had first things first. There had to be priority for children, women, students before other people.
In this same mix,
maybe the men.
In this same
I'm
mix,
guessing it's those men that now come out to say.
In this same mix, there are people without travel documents.
Remember, Egypt. That's still a major issue now, because Egypt is not going to allow you get in without proper travel documents.
There are people without travel documents. Some don't even have passports. They don't have valid passports. Some have passports and they don't have visas. All sorts of things to consider.
They're saying that there was a time for a pickup, and that if some people had arrived after the stipulated time or didn't show up at the point of pickup, they can't blame it on anyone.
Now, again, the system that they came up with, some people had questioned it. I had to look at it deeply and say, okay, well, it makes sense. If you are a Nigerian and you're in war-torn Sudan, you're trying to get out, and they're doing it alphabetically, state by state, you get, you would have to tell them where you are from. Do you understand? It's the people from Zamfara that I pity. They actually had to name a state with the letter Z.
The letter Z. Okay, I don't know.
But
I'll enter before you, Sha.
But the people who are lucky, the Abia
states, people.
Anambra, you get. So, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
That's what they did. It was alphabetical,
you know, the funny
state
thing,
by state, because it also makes it easier
the southwest
to send them out,
and especially the southwest and the north.
Yeah,
they're actually fine, because there's the Oyo, there's the Ogun, there's the Oshu.
So there's Akwa Ibom, there's Anambra, there's Abia. You get, those are the states that start. There's Adamawa. You get. The states that start with the A, then the B's. Most of the B's are from the north. You know, Bauchi, Borno, you know, Benue. You get. Then down, there's no C state in Nigeria.
Cross River.
Oh, there's actually a C. Then there's Delta, you know. Then there's the E, that's Ebonyi.
The Enugus, the Ebonyes, yeah.
So, if you really want to push agenda,
let's
follow the facts.
Let's be calming down. I saw that story. When I saw it at first, I'm like, there's something definitely off about this story. Anyway, let's move on quickly from that, and let's move on to, there's a few stories from a few universities that we're just going to breeze through. Before that, there's an announcement for people that are planning to follow the Presidential Election Tribunal. It is official that hearing is going to commence on May 8th. I am actually looking forward to it. I want to see what is going to come out of it. Now, moving on quickly. The Lagos State University students are said to now begin to use electric scooters as the university launches alternative transport inside the campus.
That's a very beautiful thing. So, if you're looking at a green world, you're looking at clean energy, and modes of transportation, this is one good thing that the Lagos State government has done. They're going into partnership with a company that actually will provide the platform and the scooters. The beauty of it is that it's going to reduce carbon emission. It will also be affordable, and it will put that university on a good
I like
good
the
platform.
fact that a few people are beginning to actually see it. Of course, it's Lagos State again,
and using LASU as a model, other schools would want to latch onto it and jump onto this platform. But the beauty of it is that they would reduce the cost of transportation within the campus. Now, I even want a situation where they just even ban cars, fossil fuel driven cars from major parts of the campus.
Yeah, I think that for you to do those bannings, schools are probably one of the first set of places that it'll be easier to.
So it's not like you cannot drive your car. It's just that you can't drive your car to certain parts of campus.
Yeah.
So there'll be like a general car park where people can sign on for these things. Then they also need to look at buggies and other electric vehicles that that can also convey people in multiples of 3s and 4s or 8s. You get that way, we will be saving the environment, we'll be reducing cost, because the beauty of these vehicles now is that they have very powerful batteries that can last One charge can take you maybe a whole day.
Yeah.
And again, within campus, you don't expect traffic. There will be no traffic situation.
When those kind of things.
The downside for me, because I have to point it out, is maintenance. Do you understand? Like, how well are they going to maintain these things? And I hope they're going to properly track them so that nobody's going to take it off campus.
Yeah. Anyway, quickly before we go, and from another school, the Imo State University. Now, there's a video that surfaced, I think it was last week, where a lecturer had hit, more like slapped, a student because I think they have a dress code in the class, and this lady is a married pregnant lady that she was being asked by the lecturer why she didn't wear it. I said she was coming from the hospital, and the next thing we see in that video is the lecturer hitting her in the face.
I don't get it. Can you just say it again? Which school?
Imo State University.
They have a dress code.
No, I think the department, maybe it's the department or something.
And she was not clad in this.
Yes. And the lecturer was asking her.
He physically assaulted her.
Yes, he did.
And there's a video.
Yes, there's a video. It's not about there is a video. I actually saw this video. And now, the update from that is that the school has now suspended the lecturer indefinitely.
Is he going to court?
Now we do not know what exactly is happening after that, but he has been suspended. I think that for anybody to go to a university at all, you are to a large extent an adult. Now, this person is married and pregnant. Even if she's not married, she's pregnant. So to a large extent, she is supposed to be an adult.
If students are not even allowed to get physical with each other by way of combat and everything, why would a teacher be allowed to do it? Do you understand? Like, I know that in university, we always used to say that if you fight someone, you have graduated. In university,
yes, now you have
that you fight because when you're going to face the Senate, you're facing them with your graduation gown. That was the gist. Then we never got to go, thank God. But how long, do we want to keep saying these things? Like, why on earth would you even strike someone physically? Not to talk of the fact that it's a woman and she's pregnant. Look, this kind of people should be sued. Let the law take its full course.
Yeah, they're saying that they're setting up an investigative panel and all that. And the honest truth is that if somebody had not taken a video in that class,
that's proof.
Then nothing really would have happened. But I think that people, I don't know what
was the lecturer having a bad day, or is this something he does all the time? He probably has been doing it for a while and has gotten away with
when
it.
When people say that maybe we have bad days, okay, it's like this. When some people say some things, they're like, how? And you're like, maybe the person's having a bad day. If the thing is not in your subconscious or if it's not in your vocabulary, no matter how bad your day is, it won't come out because it's not who you are. So I think that people just need to be careful. Which there's some things that are just wrong on all levels, and that's it. Basically, for me, talking about schools, sadly in Serbia, a 14-year-old has been arrested for killing 9 children and a police officer in a school. And I'm wondering, what's a 14-year-old doing with an assault rifle that was enough to kill 9 people?
We always talk about how America has its own fair share of all these mass killings and these mass shootings and these school shootings. And when I heard the story this morning, we're discussing it.
You thought it was in the US?
I'm like, okay, what part of America did this happen again? You get?
Serbia.
But we are at a place where we know the truth, but we don't want to do anything about it. Some people, as a campaign, said, guns don't kill people and all that. There is people that... if the guy was holding a broom, will he kill 9 people?
Kill 9 people. Exactly.
Guns kill. You all keep making these dangerous weapons, and you think that people will not get carried away by them and they won't get power drunk or look for how to do all these stupid things that they do?
Okay. Quickly, let's do a bit of rundown in sports. Now, Leeds United, we talked about it yesterday. Leeds United has now officially appointed former English coach or former England coach Sam Allardyce. We want to see the wonder
Big Sam.
as he's going to start his job with playing Man City. Honestly,
Big Sam has his work cut out for
I
him.
honestly don't see them winning that game, but I also don't think that it should be about how they play, not about winning this particular game.
Every Arsenal fan should be supporting Leeds United as we speak.
Yeah.
And be praying for
Yeah.
Big Sam to succeed, because it's going to play a major role in the
It
title.
definitely
The title race is not over. For people who have written Arsenal off, you're making a big mistake.
There's still a few games out there.
But it's a tall ask for Big Sam. But you know how we say it now, just like Harry, Redknapp used to do, and Big Sam, they've been called up for this kind of situations before. Let's see how this one pans out.
Let's see how it pans out. And talking about it quickly, Manchester United legend Rio Ferdinand and former Chelsea keeper as well, Peter Cech, has also now been inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame. I think
These two deserve it.
they definitely
Rio Ferdinand had a very clean career as a footballer. Yeah, one of the blemishes on him was when he was supposed to do a drug test and he didn't do it. He said he was moving house from one place to another. And so people used to refer him as a druggie. He never failed the test, but he was suspended for it because he didn't take the test.
took the test.
But apart from that tiny blot, go and check his records. Clean records, cards and all of that. He's a defender's defender.
Yeah.
And Peter Cech, after Peter Cech had that accident where he had to start wearing his own special made helmet, it was almost as if there's some kind of superpower that came with that.
Looks like it happens a lot.
Yeah, and Peter Cech just became something else. I think is another amazing goalkeeper.
Yeah, he definitely,
one of the best ever
he
in the game.
He definitely did it for Chelsea. Sadly, I'm sure he's one of the people that will be very sad with what's happening with Chelsea at the moment. We saw yesterday's game that they played with Arsenal. I did not have so much faith in Arsenal at the moment, because in the last 4 games they've not been very wonderful. I personally think that a lot of them are actually tired, and the Arsenal team, as good as they are, I think they actually need a lot more players than they have right now for them to sustain what they have. But I also did not. Like I said, I didn't think that they were going to lose the game. Chelsea was going to lose the game that easily. Honestly,
3-1
so.
it ended.
3-1 it ended.
It was disappointing, because if you look at how Arsenal started like a house on fire, you thought that they were going to double that.
The second half.
But Chelsea actually, brought their A game in the second half. They started to, try to stem the tide of defeats. Mr. Frank Lampard has now created one of the worst records ever.
Yeah, it is.
No, he didn't create. He has matched.
One of the Chelsea's worst record. I think was 1988 of having 10 games, 10 losses at a stretch. Now they have officially hit that as well.
Frank Lampard has won only one game in 20 games that he has coached or managed between Everton and Chelsea.
I remember
20 games, one victory.
I remember I was talking to a few weeks ago a Chelsea fan, and he was like that he sees what Chelsea did, and they know that Lampard is literally like a god to Chelsea fans. So no matter what he does, they're not going to make so much noise about it. That Chelsea fans have a huge soft spot for Lampard. I say yes, but Lampard the player is different from Lampard the coach.
That's some BS right there, man. But
Lampard the coach.
The bottom line is like you're making excuses for your impending
they
failure.
They do not have a coach.
Yesterday's game was
the nail of the coffin.
A coachless Chelsea versus an amazing Imperial Arsenal team. That's all.
Anyway, quickly, still talking about the game. An Arsenal fan has now been arrested after Chelsea's player Modric was targeted with a laser pen. I like where we're going with when it comes to sports at this point, where people cannot just do things and get away with it. We need to stop. We need to behave better. If people are going to go to jail for seemingly silly things that they're doing, I think it would really, really also give other people common sense to stop these things. We see how people have now been going to jail for things like this, for making racist comments, for attacking players, even on social media alone. We've seen how these things, and I'm actually all for it, really. I really am all for it.
Talking about Modric, I liked the brief exchange between him and Arteta. You know, there was a part where Arteta just touched his head and they just greeted themselves. Like, I'm sure he was like, "Oh my God, I should have gone to Arsenal. I should have gone to
Arsenal." He
Arsenal.
wanted to go. I think that honestly, Chelsea's
it was the money. It was
boss,
the money.
Yeah, just wanted to prove that okay, they had him. Now, what are you doing? I'm sure he has regretted that thing. Like, why didn't I just stick to Arsenal? Anyway, now finally, before we go, it has been announced that Nigeria's own Rema is set to perform at the O2 Arena in November. Now he's one of the the Nigerians to now few Nigerians to perform at the O2. I think,
and hopefully sell out the O2.
Sell out the O2. Yeah.
There's
been a lot of sellout here.
He has the library. He has the large cachet of music that can drive an entire concert at the O2. That's how big Rema is, and he has had several hits. I just want him to have a successful show. So if you're out there in the UK, go check out the tickets. They started the pre-sale a few hours ago. Tomorrow the general sale starts. Just go there and support your brother and go have fun still, because you don't even know what he has in store for you. But Dolupo said lastly will be one of the stories that we skipped, which says that Moscow has banned drone flights after an alleged attempt on Vladimir Putin by 2 drones allegedly from the Ukrainian side of things. So right now, no drones are allowed to fly in the Russian capital, and this is what's going on in Russia and Ukraine.
Okay. Anyway, for someone that wants to plan to assassinate Putin, I think is a lot. And
the real final one is that the Nigerian government has given the support to the Advertising Association to sue Meta, owners of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp for running adverts in the Nigerian space without following the Nigerian laws and depriving the advertising agencies of some form of income.
Definitely coming down. These are laws are working now.
We out.
So on that note, I will see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of The Bar. Do you have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead?